So I love reading. It's relaxing for me, and most of the things that I learn come from me reading a blog post or a book. Not only is it good for reading, but it also has other benefits. Research has shown that reading increases connectivity in the brain. It also increases attention span and focus and concentration, which, if you've seen other videos on this channel, you know that I love finding ways to increase those things. Today, I want to talk about 3 books that changed the way that I think about money. After reading these books, my focus was on what steps I could take that would change my financial path. Maybe you grew up like me and you didn't know anything about finances. For a lot of people, this isn't something they think about until a bad decision is made or until a life-changing event happens. Every year, brand new adults at the age of 18 sign up for debt in hopes of bettering their future, which it can, but they blindly sign their name without having full knowledge of the terms and expectations. For some of these adults, this trend will follow them their whole lives. So in this video, I'm going to list out 3 books and give a summary of some of the lessons learned. Now, I don't have time to list out all the lessons from each book in this video, so I'll put a link to each book in the description below. So the first book on the list is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Rich Dad Poor Dad is the story of 2 fathers, the rich dad and the poor dad, who teach things through their interactions and mindset about money. Of the 3 books on this list, this is the first one that I read, and I also recommend reading it first because it will change your mindset about money and help prepare you to take the actions outlined in the next 2 books. So you could say that this book got me started because it changed the way that I thought about money, and I came out convinced that I could change my situation. What Rich Dad teaches is that you are in control of your own wealth. In fact, all 3 books in this video have that same teaching. Your wealth is not dependent on your boss, the government, or a college degree. In fact, the poor dad in the book, who is Robert Kiyosaki's real father, has his PhD and a good job. When you rely on another entity to provide your wealth, you will never get there because you are always working for money. And this is the first lesson of Rich Dad Poor Dad. The rich don't work for money. 99% of the population is working for money, but the other 1%, they make money work for them. Our salaries are like a drug. We get an initial dosage of, say, $50,000 a year, and at first this is fine, but all of a sudden it seems to not be cutting it anymore. And so we look forward to the next pay raise, thinking that we can finally get ahead with that one. As time passes, it seems like that isn't enough either. This is the rat race, or keeping up with the Joneses. And this is something that a lot of people in the middle class struggle with. In order to get out of this, we must learn a couple of things. The first thing to learn is the difference between an asset and a liability. Robert Kiyosaki defines these simply. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket, and a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. Now look at your budget that you hopefully have. Is all of your money going to liabilities? Car payment, house payment, credit card payment? Notice the theme? Debt is a big problem, and that leads us to our second book. But before I jump to the second, what I talked about was only from the first 2 chapters of Rich Dad Poor Dad. I highly recommend reading the rest of the book. You can find a link to that in the description below. I talk about a lot of things that I've learned from podcasts and books all the time on this channel, so make sure you subscribe to keep getting information. So once you have the right mindset, you need to knock out the things that are holding you back. And that's where the second book comes in, which is Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. One reason I like learning from Dave Ramsey is because he made financial mistakes in the past and learned from them, and then made it his life mission to help people avoid making the same mistakes that he did, whether on a large scale or a small scale. In the Total Money Makeover, Dave outlines his 7 baby steps that help get you out of debt and into a life of financial freedom. These baby steps are supposed to take you all the way out of debt and help you prepare for the future with an emergency fund and prepare for upcoming events such as buying a house, paying for a kid's college, and even for retirement. I had the same mindset as most people, that debt was just a part of life. I had a car loan and plenty of student loans. But because of this book, I got rid of my car loan and am currently paying off my student loans. So in this book, I'm in baby step 2. I'll keep this channel updated on when I finally do become debt-free, and we'll have to find a way to celebrate. If you have debt of any kind, I highly recommend reading The Total Money Makeover. And if you have any suggestions for how to celebrate becoming debt-free, leave them in the comment section below. The third book is I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. I Will Teach You to Be Rich is a book for those who aren't doing anything about their finances and why they should. However, I still recommend reading it even if you know you should do stuff about your finances, because it does have valuable information. Both this book and The Total Money Makeover teach you about what you can and should do with your money. I Will Teach You to Be Rich teaches you how to optimize your money and teaches you how to optimize your time spent on personal finances. The book goes through topics such as credit cards, investing, how to set up automated investing and bill pay, as well as what to look for in a bank account. Ramit takes an approach to personal finance that most others don't take. Most others will talk about how you can cut spending here and there. Ramit brings up the fact that there are two sides to the equation of having more money. You can cut spending here, or you can just simply make more money. And making more money is a lot more fun. He also talks about creating a conscious spending plan, which is like a budget, but without being meticulous about every penny. Now, each one of these books teaches something different, and at some points, they teach different views on the same things altogether. One point I would like to make is to be open to learning from different sources with different perspectives. You'll have a more rounded view when it comes to finances, and this will help make your personal finances be more optimized for you. Remember that you can find links to all three books in the description below. I highly recommend reading all three if you haven't already. Leave a comment below if you have read these books or what your top 3 finance books are. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Anyway, don't forget to do something nice for someone random this week. See you next time.